You'll gain nothing by getting sucked into this evil. Eat quickly and leave.
I've had enough rice. Give me some sake. I like it here. I'll stay a while.
That's right. We watched Yojimbo this week on The Movie Gap, the podcast that has you scream.
How have you not seen that? 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 Little darling, how have you not seen this? How have you not seen it?
Welcome to The Movie Gap. I am your host, Chase Austin. And as always, the giant guy with a mallet to my left, Bryce Perkins.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, that guy was something else, huh?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
He was huge.
Yeah.
He had the big face and everything.
Yeah, look, what is it? Like
Skull was huge.
Andre the Giant and Gigantism.
Yeah,
thing.
right. Yeah, definitely.
So, anyway, before we get started, Bryce, how have you been, man? I don't think we had time to talk about it last time. We had a guest.
That's true. That's true. But I've been doing well. Other than the fact that I can't, really discuss things. Turns out that I do have some bumps in the road from agencies that are out to protect the people, like the FDA and stuff like that. Yeah, protect them from getting things that will help their lives. Is that what you're out to do, FDA? But I can't speak anymore. My lawyers have told me that I should be mum's the word. But I'm trying to save people's lives. I'm trying to help people smell good and live as long as they want to, while smelling delicious and good. But apparently there are agencies out there that are afraid of the safety of said products and think that they will bring irreparable harm to many families. So I can't really say much more than that. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
All right, sounds like you had a big week.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole!
Yeah, I know, Chase. But, besides that...
What do you say we cut the chit-chat?
When I play the drop, we don't need you to keep playing the drop.
Listen, it was me doing it back to you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what that is. That's kids on TikTok. Here's the same joke back at you.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. Hey, you did that joke. I can do it too.
No,
and there's nothing different. There's nothing different about it.
All right. So let's get into it.
What about you? How's your week been? Because what people don't know is that Chase hasn't seen this movie either.
Yeah.
I don't want to bury the lead
start
here.
talking about that.
Yeah. So
I have seen it now.
He has now, right.
Yeah.
But neither of us had seen this movie. This is a double whammy for you folks.
Yeah.
So that being said, Chase, how have you been?
I've been good.
All right, well then.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole!
All right.
Mine is chopped and screwed.
So we decided to do Yojimbo, tackle some Japanese cinema, starting with the best and brightest, the man who was named Asian of the Century, Akira Kurosawa.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
By what? By what?
It was some magazine.
Okay, cool. Some magazine names him Asian of the Century.
But it's in the Wikipedia somewhere. I'd have to find it.
Wow.
But yeah. I just thought that was cool.
That is really cool.
So
that is one hell of a fucking honor.
Last semester, I was doing a class, Myth and Film, and we, studied the Hero with 1,000 Faces. It's the Man with 1,000 Faces, the hero's journey. It's Joseph Campbell, and that's what a lot of Star Wars came out of and everything. And in that, we talked about Akira Kurosawa, but we actually watched the Samurai trilogy, which was starring Toshiro Mifune, or Toshiro Mifune. Is it Mifune?
Mifune, maybe
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Apologies. And it is based on a book that is the like fictionalized story of the most famous and epic swordsman of all time in what do you call it? Japanese culture.
literature?
Yeah,
Okay.
and he wrote like the Five Rings and a bunch of other stuff about judo and all that kind of stuff. And but yeah, it was the Samurai Trilogy. It was 3 movies to cover that book, and so that is not; those are not directed by Akira Kurosawa, but they are awesome. And I just like fell in love with the martial arts, the samurai movies and the Japanese cinema. And I was like, I want to start doing one. So we decided on Yojimbo, one because it gives us a Y movie.
That's right. Is this the first Y movie?
Yeah, this is definitely the first Y movie.
No, there's got to be one more, right?
What other movie even starts with Y?
Yosemite, starring Christian Bale.
Is that one?
Yeah,
Oh, well, no.
isn't
we
it?
watch that.
Yeah, it is, right?
I know
You
it's
tell
a
us.
TV
You
show.
write it.
I know it's a TV show.
Oh,
But anyway, the samurai movies, it's,
What am I thinking of then?
I don't
Something. Something starts with a Y.
but it's about Musashi Miyamoto, and he's like a super famous Japanese samurai.
Like fictional character.
Yeah. No, he was a real person.
Oh,
But the
wow.
story is like a fictionalized
Gotcha.
telling of his story.
Okay.
He's basically like, I don't know, King Arthur or something.
Gotcha.
It's like a huge deal.
Okay,
Everybody
right.
knows. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
He's a famous person. So, and that was played by Toshiro Mifune. And
In the Samurai Trilogy.
yeah, and that was
Which-
before this. That was in like the early
Okay.
50s.
Okay.
I think the first one was like 51. No, the first one was 54, 55, and then 56.
Wow. So he was kind of like on his what do you call that? Like kind of on his victory lap during this movie. Like kind of like he was already well established.
No, he
Star.
he continued starring in films until his death in 90. His last movie was in 95. He was in 185 things.
Wow.
Over 150 movies.
Well, and I guess a better way to say it is that he was already a well-established veteran by the
Yeah.
time this movie came out.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one to start with Akira Kurosawa and him, because so Akira Kurosawa basically discovered Toshiro Mifune, and they ended up doing 16 movies together.
Wait, so they did movies together before this movie then?
Yeah, Seven Samurai
But
and
not including
Rashomon.
the Samurai Trilogy.
No, he was with somebody else.
Okay.
So, but they worked together. They were like the Bobby and Scorsese, or
Wow, okay.
at the time they
Or
ended
the
up
Leo
having,
and Scorsese now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they ended up having a falling out.
Oh, boy.
And they were, it's a very proud culture, and they never really
Sure.
made amends. So
Wow,
yeah.
really?
And nobody knows what the deal was.
Who died first?
I don't know. I would assume Akira Kurosawa, because he was older, I believe.
Oh,
Because Toshiro Mifune was like in his 30s when he did this, and okay, so he
although
died.
he was closer to 40.
Yeah, he died in
It's in
77.
the movie. Who?
Or he died in 97 at the age of 77.
Mifune?
Mifune. And then
Toshiro?
Akira Kurosawa died in 88 or in 98 at the age of 88.
Man.
So 77,
So he held out,
97,
man,
77, this guy
damn,
88.
dude. He won the
in
pride
98.
battle.
Yeah.
He was like, I will never fucking talk to you again and I will live longer than you. You know?
Yep.
He fucking did it.
But the first major movie that Akira Kurosawa did that became internationally famous was Rashomon. And he had already made himself an established director. He started out as like an assistant director, and then worked his way up, and then he started directing films. And they were, they're classic films. That some of them are really good, some of them are not as good or whatever.
Sure.
But Rashomon was the first one that got international recognition.
Okay.
Like at the time of release, and it was because somebody bought it and took it to the International Film Festival in Venice, and it won like the prize
All the
of that. I
shit,
think the Golden
yeah.
Lion or something.
Oh, wow.
And from there, Asian cinema, specifically Japanese cinema, like really open wide up.
Yeah.
So like before the war and during the war, World War II, when Akira Kurosawa was like starting out, there were a lot of restrictions in Japanese cinema, like what you can and cannot show. It can't be too westernized.
Placed by who?
By the government.
By the Japanese government?
The Japanese government. And it couldn't be too westernized or anything like that.
Wow.
And
really?
then when when the war was over, it kind of went the other way where you couldn't do like a lot of feudal Japanese movies anymore. And so like there was one movie that he was working on that got caught in this like ambiguity. Like when he was working on it, it was before the war was over, and he was like it was never going to get released because it was too Western. But when the war was over, it was too it wasn't Western enough.
Oh wow!
So it went into like to turn around for several years. But Rashomon is the one that put him on the map. And then
Rashomon came out when
50 let me see, 50 something or God, it was already way up into his career. 60.
Oh, so right before this.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, that's a TV movie, Rashomon. Oh, am I under his writer? Yeah, I'm under his writer. My bad. I need to be going to director. So, 1950. Okay, yeah.
1950.
But yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he Drunken Angel was the first one he did with Toshiro, and that was in 48. But yeah, then in 50 he did Rashomon. That's where it really took off. Then and that's considered like one of the best movies of all time. Okay. Specifically Japanese cinema. And then but depending on who you talk to, Seven Samurai, which came out in 54, is considered
even better.
Yeah. So it kind of goes back and forth. And one of the things
Which one is the one that specifically inspired the look of Darth Vader?
Okay, that would have been Hidden Fortress. That's the one that that came out in 58. That one is the one that is more or less to have inspired a lot of
Star Wars
stuff.
Yeah. Which there was stuff in this film that you and I both caught that.
Oh yeah,
was clearly like at least within the editing of Star Wars.
Yeah, the wipes.
Yep.
Yeah. And just like the stylized, the characters being, I mean, the Star Wars. He was Lucas was inspired, inspired, I guess is the right word, or influenced by a lot of how Akira Kurosawa did films and the characters in them and stuff like that. And then the story, the hero's journey story is 100,000 years old or whatever. It's like the story of everything.
Of course, yeah.
The story of Christ.
All the archetypes
follows the hero's journey. So, and the Matrix, and it goes on and on. So, and even like Akira Kurosawa's whole life kind of
well, it's ancient Greek shit,
I mean, it's older than that.
Yeah. Oh, even older than that.
Yeah. So
we're talking about first civilization.
I mean, it's the story. Like it's the story that all stories boil down to. So yeah, Seven Samurai is considered like one of the best movies of all time. Now, Yojimbo is his largest success. Okay. Internationally and everything else.
Are we doing numbers right now? You want to do numbers? Okay.
No. But he, he continued directing all the way into 93. One of his biggest films was a movie called Dreams, which was just all of his like actual dreams. He had this obsession with filming dreams. Okay. And it's like a weird artsy film that nobody wanted to make because it was expensive and it wasn't ever going to make any money.
Really have anything to do with anything.
Spielberg and Scorsese and all these people were like, fucking he's going to make it. Yeah. So like they got it made.
They did, really. Yeah. They put their money down on it.
Yeah.
Huh?
And that was in 90. And then he had two more. He had one in 91.
We're going to do that one.
So
I kind of want to see that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them. I definitely would love to do Rashomon. That's super famous just because of its plot structure.
Right.
And you've seen the plot of Rashomon before, more or less. The structure, at least. It's in every sitcom from the 90s and to today. It's
Seinfeld?
In movies and stuff like that. Maybe not Seinfeld. I don't think there's one of Seinfeld.
Okay.
But I know there's one episode of Always Sunny that does it. So
you mean there's been a bunch of parodies?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the story, loosely, without spoiling anything, is we start out, the movie, and there's like
Speaking of Star Wars, by
Yeah,
the way.
there it
Hello
is.
R2.
everything's influenced, right?
Right, yeah.
So the story, we come across this scene where a samurai has been murdered, and there's like clues and everything out there, and then it's a trial to find out who did it, basically. And so they put
it's a
like
big whodunit.
they put this thief on trial, they put the wife on trial, they get a medium in to have the spirit of the
so
samurai
it's not like
in
a samurai movie.
no.
Oh,
And
wow.
they get the samurai spirit through this medium to tell the story of what happened. And then after the trial, the woodcutter who found all the stuff tells the other. So it's 4 different versions of the same story.
Okay.
And
Easy with the spoilers,
yeah. Well, no, I mean, that's just it.
if we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, but I'm not going to spoil who did it or who said what.
Yeah.
But basically, the idea is that everybody says they're the hero and the victim almost. You know?
Right.
So, like, it's not their fault or something.
Yeah.
And so, but it's all the same story with all the same outcomes, but told from different perspectives. Which, like, I know Always Sunny did it, where one time when like Dennis was telling the story, Dee was an ostrich.
Yeah,
the whole time,
with
you
the
know?
costume
So, like,
party.
yeah, that whole
the
thing is-
Halloween episode.
Yeah, it's called like the Rashomon
Boy Meets
effect.
World did that shit.
It's been.
Do you
done
remember
a
that
million
episode of
times.
Boy Meets
Yeah.
World, dude? When
Yeah.
Sean, it turns out Sean, he faced himself, and then it was Sean, and it turns out it was all just Sean's dream. But like when he finally met the killer put his thing down, and it was Sean looking at Sean.
Oh yeah, well I think that
Dude,
was
that
just a
episode was
dream.
awesome.
Yeah,
But it was kind of the same thing because it was like a whodunit, and then they would like see the perspective of like,
Yeah.
well, where were you when this happened?
Yeah,
Where were
yeah,
you when this
yeah.
happened? And then Sean realized it was me. How could this be? And it was like
Yeah.
this big lesson. And he's like, I'm really afraid of myself and how I hurt my
I
friends.
have to revisit.
And he had the surfer cut, and he'd always be like,
We were actually
like that.
talking about watching Boy Meets World.
that show ruled, dude.
We're right. We just started rewatching Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Oh yeah,
Which
I
is
know.
fucking
That's
great.
a nostalgia journey right
Yeah,
there.
it's
But
a
shout
lot
outs
of
to
fun.
fucking Ben Savage, man.
Yep. So anyway, Rashomon. That's what that's about. Seven Samurai got
Mr.
remade
Feeney?
into the most famous is the Magnificent Seven. You know, and then
Wait, what?
the Magnificent Seven is a
Oh,
remake.
it's the most famous remake.
Yeah, of
Western
Seven
remake.
Samurai. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then Yojimbo, this one got
Wait, does Tarantino go into Rashomon territory with Hateful Eight?
yeah, probably. I mean, I don't,
don't
really
remember 'cause you
it
hated that
'cause I
fucking movie.
I don't even think I finished it. I got to the intermission. I was
wow.
like, "Fuck this thing."
Intermission.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, that was already 2 hours
no.
in, and I was uninterested.
Well, the fact that you say that it sucks that much and it has an intermission,
Yeah.
I don't think I even want to waste
It's like
my time
4
with
hours
it.
long. It's
Oh
ridiculous.
my god, fuck that.
Yeah, I did not. I hated it so much.
Yeah, you and
I could
you're
probably
not the
do it
only
now,
one.
but I just don't know why I would.
You're not the only one that said that.
Yeah. So anyway, whatever. Hate on me if you will. It's not my cup of tea.
Don't hate the player, hate the
Yeah.
game.
So anyway, but also Tarantino is takes a lot of inspiration from Akira Kurosawa, along with other.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I would fucking imagine.
going back to the Samurai trilogy, a lot of that inspired Kill Bill, including
course.
like specific shots and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
in it, Bill describes the final scene from the third movie, talking about the samurai on the beach.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, yeah, the Asian cinema, lot of groundbreaking and inspirational stuff. I mean, the world of movie making as we know it would be different without
Yeah.
specifically
I'd
Akira
say.
Kurosawa.
Right.
Yeah,
I'd
he
say.
inspired so many of the greats of our time who have gone on to inspire others. And
Well, I mean, it looks like. I mean, it seems like he had a hand in inspiring. The greatest film franchise of all time, or the biggest film franchise
Yeah.
of all time. Which, yeah, the filmscape would be completely different. Without that. So. Yeah.
So that being said, this movie, Akira Kurosawa, he wanted to make a movie like the American westerns that he started falling in love with. So specifically High Noon and Shane, which I don't know if you've seen those, but they're
no,
very
but I heard
famous.
I read the book Shane.
Yeah, back in
in school,
like 9th or 10th grade or something.
Yeah, I think it was even earlier for that because I was in advanced courses and stuff. So I think I was doing it in like 3rd or 4th grade. But yeah, 9th or 10th for you, definitely.
Well, I remember watching the movie and being like, "This movie sucks."
Really?
Yeah, but I was just too young.
Who was in that? Wasn't it
the kid?
Montgomery
Montgomery
Clift was in it? Played Shane. Who was it that played Shane? It was some famous guy.
But
like from the 50s.
George Stevens directed it. It is Alan Ladd.
Nope, I was wrong about that. I have no idea who that is. Sorry, Alan.
Yeah. Jack Palance was in it.
I've heard the name.
Curly from City Slick. You haven't seen City Slick?
No, we need to do that one, I guess.
Yeah. I just rewatched it not too long ago.
Is it really that good? It's worth a rewatch?
I mean, I hadn't seen it since I was a kid.
Gotcha.
I really enjoyed it.
Billy Crystals.
Yeah, it's cute. I'll tell you what, I enjoyed rewatching that a hell of a lot more than rewatching Wayne's World, which I did like 2 nights ago.
No, don't shit on Wayne's World, buddy.
It is very dated.
Yeah, well, of course it is.
Yeah, watching it now, I'm like, wow, this was
dude,
funny.
that Bohemian Rhapsody scene is classic.
Again.
Wait, are you talking about Wayne's World 1 or 2?
No, I'm talking about Wayne's World 1.
Oh, come on.
Like,
it's a classic. It's stone cold.
Clunky at best.
It's stone cold. You can't. Wayne's World 2, I would agree.
I'm not
Wayne's
hating
World
on
1, come on.
No, Wayne's World 2 is really bad. I do know that.
It wasn't even good back then.
No, Wayne's World 1, it's just like, okay, they're really stretching this.
Yeah, I see that, though. I get that. But
but comedies are different than they were back then. You know, so yeah, it holds up for 90s nostalgia.
Right.
And like
I can see that.
it's worth a watch for kids today to go back and be like, oh, this is where it came from.
Yeah,
but, right. It's not quite as bad as like when we went and revisited Stripes.
And yeah, and it's
but
like
Stripes
you can't even relate to it anymore.
Stripes is a better movie as far as plot. Like, but that wasn't what they were going for in Wayne's World. It was, bare bones, which is fine. But like the comedy in it holds up better than the comedy in Stripes. But it's still like, okay, we get it. We don't need to do a 4
But also, you know what? I think your film class is getting to your head a little bit. You're trying to analyze too much instead
I'm not
of just
analyzing
enjoying
shit. I was just trying to enjoy it.
What happens when you watch Analyze This or Analyze That?
It depends.
Then what? Does the analyzing collapse into itself and
also
you
starring
become a baby?
Billy Crystal from the aforementioned
Billy
City
Crystal's
Slickers.
in it?
And Bobby De Niro from the aforementioned connection between Toshiro and Akira. Let's get back on track.
Let's get back on track.
All right. So I have some notes that I enjoyed through the film and that I took some through the film, and then I also have some like backstory on things. So I would really like to just go with what you with your notes.
Yeah.
Let's pull it up.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know that we won't get the typical notes of you like listing just the director and the composer.
That's true. I was forced to kind of,
you're like, oh, I don't know that
stretch a little bit, stretch my notes muscles a little bit because, I didn't know who anyone was except for Akira.
We forgot.
Kurosawa.
Before we get into it, what did you know about it going in?
Nothing.
And what to expect?
Nothing, dude. I wasn't even sure if it was a Kurosawa. Actually, well, I think that's the only thing I knew about it because, we talked about it. We are watching this in preparation for covering other movies that you'll find out about in the future.
I think I already mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is the Man with No Name trilogy.
Fistful of Dollars.
Clint Eastwood, yeah.
Well, and this is based on Fistful of Dollars was illegally based on this movie
because it was like a straight ripoff.
Yeah. So,
when we watch Fistful of Dollars, it's going to be the exact same plot, kind of.
Yeah. Okay. So Sergio Leone, he wanted to make a Western version of this film. Right. He tried to get the rights, but couldn't get them, especially not for free.
So I see what you mean by
so
illegally.
they just
did it anyway.
Made it, and he got sued. It actually tied up the release of the movie for like 3 years.
Whoa!
Because they got sued, and mainly because it's the same fucking plot.
Yeah,
the guy has like there's all those with that kind of lawsuit. It's like it's plot and there has to be a lot of instances that are the same.
That can be proven. Yeah, right.
Now in that movie. Clint Eastwood doesn't talk much. Where in this movie,
well, but neither does
he has a lot more lines than Clint Eastwood. I think Clint Eastwood talks.
Sanjuro.
I mean, I haven't watched it in a long time, but yeah, Sanjuro has a lot of lines, and he's a badass.
He does talk more than I expected him to. I will say that. But dude, all right. Well, let's get into it because there's a few things I want to touch before we get on to him.
Yeah. So let's. let's hear your.
Oh, we need to do the synopsis, the newbie synopsis.
Yeah.
But you need to do one too. You know what we need to do, because we both haven't seen this. We need to do it at the same exact time.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and then it'll be perfect.
All right,
Podcast.
Go to Comedy Bang Bang for that nonsense.
What is it going to be, a solo bolo? You don't want to do a solo bolo?
Not to our.
I love them, by the way. I'm not trying to talk shit. We love Schwartz and Ackerman. Okay.
We would love to do a
We would
podcast
love to do
of
that,
style.
right? But that's We'll leave it to the pros. All right.
That'll be on our Patreon. You'll get episodes.
Yeah,
like
actually, how about that? That's an idea.
All right.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
And go.
Okay, so then there's a samurai who he's like a lone wolf, and he rambles upon a town where he finds quarter and food and shelter, or room and board, I should say, and he doesn't know much about the town, and the old guy that he's got room and board with, who I'm not sure if he knew him beforehand or not, but he explains the idea, and basically it's a town that's split into two factions of scoundrels and thieves and gamblers that hate each other, and they're fighting for power. And then he realizes, oh, well, I can make all these people deserve to die. I make a living killing people. I'll just make them kill each other and not have to fucking deal with the mess. So he does start, kind of playing both sides and getting them to go against each other. But then it gets all kind of fucked up, because this one lady who was traded from the guy, traded to a guy in a gambling debt, gets captured, and then they start fighting over her, and then he frees them, but then they find out that he freed them. And then he gets fucked, but then he does this epic comeback, and there's this awesome shot where it's just him standing there, and it's just like from far away, and he's like, the wind's blowing, he's like, and he's like standing there like this, like, I'm gonna kick some fucking ass now, and it's fucking really cool. And then he goes kick some ass.
See, you actually almost made it if you'd stopped at just like what the story's about.
Yeah.
Instead of telling
the
whole
details
story.
of the
Yeah, because like all it is
oh yeah, I could have made yeah.
You could be like, so there's
it
a
is
ronin.
about the guy that
it's a
that
ronin,
plays the town against each other.
A ronin is a samurai with no master. That's what that means.
Oh, I remember that show Ronin Warriors, that anime that I just could not get into because it was too dark. Do you remember that one that was on Toonami?
I think that
played
was
like an hour before DBZ.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is
oh no,
dark.
I do remember that. Yeah, it was like really, but it was a different style of Japanese.
Yeah.
It was like
older. It was like way older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a ronin is a samurai with no master.
Gotcha.
So each samurai would be connected to like a feudal lord or something, and they would be their samurai,
right?
Like a knight. Comparatively.
Gotcha.
So he's bombing around, and he comes across this town where there's gambling and basically two rival gang leaders.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to pit these two guys against each other and bring balance.
To the
samurai
force.
Is all about balance.
Bring balance to the force. Yeah. He's a Jedi master.
In fact, the
and they should have sued George Lucas.
The Japanese Jadekski or something like that. There's a word that's like a whole theory of it, and that's where the word Jedi comes from.
Oh,
Jedegeski, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
Something. Look it up.
Jedegetski.
But so so he comes to this town, decides to put the guys against each other. Things get a little out of hand. He gets beat up, but he comes back, and that's the movie.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that being said, simple plot, but so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I really loved this.
I mean, lots to play with there.
Yeah. So let's get in
and play with it. They did.
Yeah.
Now, did Kurosawa write this movie?
Yes. So Kurosawa,
writer / director.
He wrote most of his own stuff. But he co-wrote it. Like he would write drafts or whatever. He also based this one off of like it was based off of another book or movie. It was kind of based off of The Glass Key, without being an official adaptation of it. So it was like bits and pieces. But he took like little things and Western influences, and then it came up with this movie.
Okay.
So
I see.
It's an original, but it's sort of, everything, it's like Tarantino says, everything's stolen.
Yeah, right.
In one way or another.
Inspired by different things to make his own thing.
So,
which is what Star Wars is, and it's based off of all this, like all of his work, basically.
He did write this along with Rizuo Shimi.
We should just do an entire episode of you trying to read Japanese names.
I apologize ahead of time. It is going to be. I mean,
I hope there's
I'm
Japanese
dyslexic
people
as
watching
is.
this, like hearing you butcher this shit, laughing their asses off.
I mean, I'm dyslexic as is, so like I get all these vowels in there, and I'm like, whoa.
Oh man!
I mean, I'm really proud of Toshiro Mifune and Akira Kurosawa, which it might even be Toshiro Mifune. And
I think it's Mifune. I think they like say the E.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that's
yeah.
Sig silent E would be.
No, that's an English thing.
Because it's a pronunciation.
Right,
it's
exactly.
Not like it doesn't look like that in their,
Right, exactly,
stuff,
right.
so.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's smart. Hey, we're smart. We're a couple of
we're a
couple of cunning linguists.
Take everything with a grain of salt because we only know what we think we know.
Would you say that we're cunning linguists?
Cutting linguists? Yeah. Cutting linguists?
You can't even say that without giving away the joke. You just said the word. Now we're rated fucking the TV MA.
Now we're back to the lickening.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
From the early days.
And you know what?
Got a terrific penis.
All right. So, okay. So, my first note was this is immediately straight fire. And this was 1 minute into the movie.
What is that? Was that like the first shot of him just walking
Dude,
in?
yes.
I know.
But see, here's the thing. Because the soundtrack is unreal flames, dude. It is so fucking good. That boom,
yeah.
Doom, 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 the shit is like a Wu-Tang beat, man.
Yeah. So Akira, he got the guy to do the score, and like he always.
I'm gonna sample that shit, by the way.
The stuff that he always does is he gives him like a week to do it. He's like, I need
to do the score.
Yeah, I need it done.
What?
But
are you telling me that score was done in a week, dude?
Yeah. So it was done by Masura Sato, and he is a composer, and he told him like, I don't want the typical samurai music, like I don't want it to have that feel.
Can you give us an example of what typical samurai music would be, Chase?
I don't know how to do that.
Okay,
I'm not the musical one.
Well,
but I feel like it's got like high horns and like really high strings.
High horns.
But
Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, so this one has a much more. I mean, it kind of has a Western. It's like a dude. It really is like a Japanese Western.
1961, and this composer was making, basically what would have been a number one fucking rap song in 1993 or something. It's like, dude, it's like so.
Well, and I'm sure this shit has been sampled.
Well, I mean, in like, in Japanese music, it's probably less outlandish, but for like Western music, it's just so like fucking ahead of its time, man. It's no one. I don't know, dude. The soundtracks didn't sound like that. I mean, again, it's Japanese film. It's a whole different culture, but like, it's just like, man, it the film itself blew open the doors for what you could do with film, but the music, also, man, has to have been totally influential in its own right, because it was just, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was so fucking awesome, and the instrumentation was very, again, I can't say it's experimental necessarily because I don't know, where what soundtrack sounded like in Japanese film at that time or whatever. But for American audiences, it's like a whole new fucking world, you know? So it's just like, yeah, I can see why it would be completely influential coming over here and like us seeing it being like, what is this? Like for me, the music was just like, as a musician myself, I was like, dude, this is fucking nuts. And like the electric keyboards and the way they would sprinkle them in like that and the fucking things they were using to drive the beat and to accent the beats and stuff. It's fucking really fucking awesome. So it was just like immediately I was like, dude, I'm going to love this movie if this is what I have in store for me, with these awesome shots and this badass soundtrack. I can already tell this is about to be epic as fuck. And sure enough, it was, man. And then the first time you see Mifune, you're just like, yep, that's
Sanjuro. We'll call him Sanjuro.
Yeah, Sanjuro. The first time you see Sanjuro, you're just like, yep, that's the dude. That dude's about to go and fucking, slice motherfuckers up and take no prisoners. You know what I'm saying? So it just like was immediately gripping. And if you're someone that loves movies, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this, and you have not seen this, then hey, take it from us, man.
Yeah.
A couple of other laymen that also, well, he loves movies. I'm not even a movie guy, and I was like moved by how awesome this shit looks.
I never got into. I haven't gone back into a lot of the older, especially Japanese film until recently, and like I'm really liking it. It's one of those things. Like I've heard Akira Kurosawa thrown around.
Yeah, right.
Like
Same.
Yamamoto and all these other like names, and like okay, that's easy to kind of throw it. Oh, this is reminiscent of Kurosawa.
Right.
But then going back, it's like with like we were talking about with Citizen Kane. Like you could throw it around,
right?
But like if you go back and watch
actually
it, like,
watch
oh
it,
shit,
yeah,
no
right.
wonder.
Then you see why it's thought of so highly.
Yeah.
It's totally
and
worth
it doesn't take anything to get into. It's not. It feels like, oh, well, if it's that, old and that regarded, it's like an art piece.
Right.
I mean, it is.
It is.
Definitely, but it's not.
It's not awesome because it's artistic or anything. It's awesome because
it doesn't have that separation. It's
a really good movie.
Yeah.
With a really good plot, and it's really well acted and just really well done,
Yeah, and it's on HBO
solid.
Max right now if you haven't seen it.
Dude, yeah, so you don't even have to like... back then you'd have to be like, well, where am I going to find it on DVD? Or maybe I got to LimeWire it, and then that's a pain in the ass. And you don't even have to do that anymore. You just fucking stream it straight up. So anyway, so it was off to a great start. I noticed that some of the film looked sped up. Did you notice that too? Like at certain points, it looked like things were sped up a little bit, and I was wondering if that was like an aesthetic in the editing that Kurosawa was kind of going for, because
I mean, what in particular, like?
Well, when
it could have been your connection. I don't
like
really remember.
during like certain action scenes, it seemed to like happen when there was like an impactful thing going on in a battle that it was like used as an effect to make you like feel the impact of it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because it would kind of throw your senses off, and they would look like they're moving a little bit faster, so it would hit a little bit harder,
Sometimes I noticed that a little bit, but it wasn't constant, and I think it was just them moving too fast.
Okay, for the film?
Yeah.
Like Bruce Lee style or whatever? Okay, yeah, that could be.
Because if you're moving faster than 32 frames, like if you're that's what causes that.
It'll look like you're jumping.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because
That's
you're literally,
so weird.
the idea, like a movie, like the movies or moving pictures, it's 32 frames on this type of film. It's 32 still images that move by in a second. Mm-hmm. So between this image and that image, it's so close that it connects. It's the persistence of vision.
Right.
So if
you're moving faster than that, then it looks like you jump.
Yeah, if it's one frame's here and the next frame's here, it's gonna jump.
Yeah.
It's going to have that jump cut. And then also, it's an older film that, I don't think that it would be a transfer issue or anything like that, because this was, it's older, but it's 61 and they knew who he was, so it's protected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like we found this print of this obscure film.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of his films that, especially his earlier films, that got edited like crazy because of the government, and his extended edits are gone. Well, they'll never be found.
Wait, what? By what government? The Japanese government?
Yeah, and
like took his shit and was like confiscated.
Yeah,
fuck this.
Yeah, so like we in America, the first thing that really came out for rating before the MPAA was the Hays Code.
Okay.
And it, had all these rules of what you can and cannot have in a movie. And it was, censorship. But it was a way of doing that so that the government wouldn't come in and start censoring
force their hand.
So they were kind of like the studios got together and said, okay, we'll do this so we have complete control.
Right.
And then, of course, that led to them being able to shut out everybody else that was independent. So that got turned over, and then it became the MPAA, which basically is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Because if you get an, especially when films, older before, internet and video rental and stuff, if your film was rated R or higher,
Yeah, you're fucked.
especially if it was unrated or X-rated or
Yeah, NC-17,
NC-17,
something like that,
yeah, nothing's X-rated. But they you wouldn't get shown in theaters,
Right, right,
So
yeah.
but like the government actually has the say in Japanese film, and I don't know if that's the case anymore or what their stipulations are. But I know
Sure,
that there
but at
was
the
a lot of
time,
things that
that
they
was the
would cut
case.
18 minutes out of this film. One of his movies was like 4 hours long. That got cut down to like an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
And people are like, they're like, it's not really watchable, but what's there is interesting. It just, you
Yeah,
can't follow it.
it's not a
'Cause
plot,
half
yeah.
of it's gone.
Right, right.
So,
Wow.
but this movie, I know that didn't happen. So, but that being said, I don't think it's a problem with transfer or quality of what's left. So if it is a fast motion thing, then it was intentional.
Okay, yeah, that's
to
interesting.
answer your question as roundabout as I can infer.
Thank you for the concise answer. It was very good. No, that was informative. I mean, I wonder if
I really feel like a douchebag. I was like, you said one thing, and I was like, here's a lesson
no,
in
that's
history.
good. I mean, the people are learning along with me, and it's all good. Thank you, master. I will be your samurai master, right? It's like
Yep.
the movie we're talking about. So yeah, but no, I bet it had more to do with the moving too fast for the
Yeah.
frames. I forgot that we are dealing with like old, like actual film,
Yeah,
like an older film at that, right?
yeah.
And
And black
What
and
would you
white.
say this was
black
shot
and white
on?
was also a choice at this point.
yeah, that's true.
I mean, it saves some money, but
Saved a lot of money back then, right?
I mean, I really don't know. I just have heard that it saves money.
Yeah.
But I really don't know.
Yeah,
because
right.
I've never done the research on it.
What are we? We're
But-
just a couple of schmoes.
Yeah, but I mean, at also at this point, like sometimes black and white film wouldn't have been cheaper because they quit making it. A lot of the reasons that black and white film was cheaper is because like not only was nobody using it, but they just had it in their storage. Like when Kevin Smith did Clerks, he bought a bunch of old black and white film because nobody wanted it.
Oh wow.
But in '61, movies were still being made in black and white, just not as much as in color. Like
Right.
that whole Samurai trilogy that I talked about, that's color.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it is glorious. It's real pretty and
Wow.
shot. I mean, you should definitely check that out. But
film that was in color or was film that had to be colorized, like how when
was
they
in
first
color.
started coloring film.
no, because that was in the '50s. It was already colored.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit. Okay. Because with like Wizard of Oz, they had to go back and like actually colorize the shit.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah. Well, I mean, they shot on color film.
Oh, did they
but
actually have color
Yeah.
film?
It just.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, there was additions to it.
gotcha. Oh, to like enhance it and
Yeah.
shit. Oh, okay.
But color film started with like colorizing started with like some of the earliest films, but it literally was you pull out the film
Yeah,
and
and
you
you
dye,
blot
you either
some
dye the whole strip
Yeah.
or like you paint on it.
Yeah.
And, like,
right.
Yeah, it looks,
And it looks
you know,
like whack.
especially now it looks bad because
Yeah.
it's old dye on old film that like it's out of the lines. and
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
But yeah,
Looks whack. Okay, yeah, well that's interesting. I'm pretty sure it was just because it was old, but it still seemed to work out. It seemed to have like an impact on some of the action shots, that little shot of the dog with the hand in its mouth just to kind of set up like
Okay,
what kind
yeah.
of town you're in.
so he talked to Akira Kurosawa. He challenged all of the ADs to come up with some sort of image that would let Sanjuro know he was entering a bad town.
Uh-huh.
And he shot down all the ideas because they had all already been done.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were, but I was assuming like, see a guy gets thrown out of a roof or
Right,
he sees a
right,
murder. And he's
right.
like, no. And then
Yeah.
he came up with the idea of just this fucking dog bombing, like walking out of the
Yeah.
dust
With
just a hand. And he's like,
it's his
oh,
toy
shit.
or something.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
they're like, okay, this place. This is
yeah,
rough.
right, yeah.
Yeah. And
No
it
pun
does.
intended, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like that's one of the like first shot. I mean, that's right after he meets the people on the road with that kid or whatever. But when he's walking to that town, that's when my wife came out of the other room because she did not watch this with me, and I was like, "This guy is fucking dope."
Yeah.
Fucking samurai just walking.
Yeah.
I was like, I want one of those like kimonos or gi. I
Yeah.
think it's a gi.
No.
Or is it a
Gi is
kimono?
it's
That's
a kimono.
karate. Yeah,
It's
so it's a kimono. I was like, man, I want to just like bombing around, walking like
Where
this.
they put their
your
hands with the
arm-
arms just hanging. Yeah, that was the biggest surprise for me that that seemed to be like the pose for the kimono, was to not have your arms in the sleeves, but to hold your arms right here. Like that seemed to be they spent way more time like that than actually having them in the arms. Like,
but you just like slip out.
Yeah, slip them out in the arms just for battle.
And I want to know like
the
what
rest
kind of
of it-
fucking pockets and shit. Like it looked like he got some stuff because he would always like pull something out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like really cool.
But that him walking in with that dust and that dog coming out. My wife was like, "Is that a hand?" I was like, "Yeah, this movie's about to get good."
Right? Yeah. When was this movie supposed to take place? Was it the equivalent of like how our westerns take place in the 1800s and shit like that, or was it supposed to take place in modern day?
The fact that the main bad guy or the bad guy's son has that pistol.
Has the pistol would
so that means
that it was sort of modern, right?
Yeah, so that means that it was after like the westernization had started creeping in. So because Japan was isolationism.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Like, it was nobody in, nobody out kind of stuff for a long time. So they like maintained like basically almost a medieval form of society. In like a feudal Japan is what they call it.
Well, yeah.
So so the fact that they had this pistol and it was like becoming a little more westernized means it was probably like the 1860s. That's when this is supposed to have taken place.
Okay, well, but in the 1860s, though, wouldn't Japan still be in its isolationism phase where a guy wouldn't have a pistol?
Well,
you know what I mean?
the pistol being in existence puts it at that time.
Sure.
But it's not a fully open Japan yet. So in the 1960s is when Japan was being forced out of its isolationism.
Okay.
It's post-war. Things are settling down. You know.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more westernized.
Right.
As much as they do. You know.
Right.
But the 1860s, it would be people would still be living the way that they were in that movie. There would still be the idea of the ronin walking around. But there's also the pistol puts it in that. Era.
That it could be in that era at least.
Yeah, because there wouldn't have been pistols before.
Okay. So then it is like
because that's a revolver, like it's not a musket or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I love how like he's like so proud of it and so attached to it, and when he brings it out, it like really changes the game.
Yeah.
You know, when he's like, "Look at this," and it's like, "Oh shit, man." Yeah, that dude's the boss now, man. He's got the gun.
He's got the gun.
It's like that thing will fuck you up. But too bad that it wasn't enough for our Sanjuro.
Yeah.
You know, for him.
Akira, he told Toshiro that Sanjuro was a character that was like a lone wolf or a dog, which is why he like developed that like like he's flicking off a flea.
Yeah.
Like that was just like a thing.
Yeah.
You always know like some shit's gonna go down.
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh, that's such a cool move.
Right. Yeah.
And then
it's a method.
Tatsuya Nakadai. This is getting worse. Anyway, the guy with the gun, he was like a snake. You told him to be like a snake.
Right. Even though his character's name was the rabbit, like what the guy said, like he looks like gentle like a rabbit, like his star sign or whatever.
Yeah.
Or his whatever they call it.
The Chinese zodiac.
Yeah.
Japanese, no, I guess it wasn't.
Well,
Chinese,
yeah, but he basically
Year
said
of the
star
thing,
sign. Yeah. But he's on the inside, he's a wolf or whatever.
Yeah.
So his character was supposed to appear as a rabbit, be vicious like the wolf, but have the mentality of the snake.
Yeah, it's a duality thing. Yeah.
It's a triality. He's supposed to be three. Man, that's the toughest
he's a rabbit
acting job of all
he's
time.
He's a wolf in rabbit's clothing, so he's a snake.
Yeah.
Sneaky bastard.
Sneaky bastard. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, I say give him the Oscar now because I didn't realize he was having to, personify 3 different animals.
I mean, how many animals do you personify on a regular day?
Well, are we talking about in the streets or in the sheets?
The streets.
Oh, like half of one.
Well, do you streets and sheets in the same day? Because then you can count it.
Do I? Yeah, like maybe like once a week. Yeah, so and it's really kind of only amounts to like one animals total. So, but anyway, we can break that down later. Yeah. Yeah, that guy was really cool. The dog with the hand was crazy. They set it up even more by saying things like, the casket maker is the only guy in town who makes any money, and stuff like that, just to give you an idea of how regular death is, how much of a regular thing it is in everyday life for that town. Let's talk about that doofy brother, dude. Okay, so there was like moments of really good comedy in this too.
Yeah,
like really well done comedy.
That's intentional. Like,
yeah, of course,
obviously,
of course.
Yeah, in the writing, he wanted it to be, more lighthearted.
Well, it's interesting too because I can't really call myself a fan of anime necessarily, but I grew up watching DBZ and stuff when it was super popular, and I still partake in the manga every now and then here and keep up with the story and everything. But I always notice that in like any anime that I watch, there is humor peppered in, especially in DBZ. Like they pepper in humor in there. It's actually funny stuff. It's not like it's like adult humor. You know what I mean? And it's not like Looney Tunes type shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was cool to see that they were doing it in this movie too, all the way back then as well. Because it like I love seeing that the Japanese sense of humor is really like in line with American sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like even closer than Americans and British even, you know what I'm saying? Like I can watch something from Japanese culture and laugh my ass off way easier than if I watch something British, like Monty Python. You have to put yourself in a mindset of like, oh, I'm watching British humor now. I got to get a little cynical.
Well, yeah,
I got
and
a little,
on top of that,
dry.
It's old, but then you look at this from 1961.
Yeah, and it's like the jokes in there are as fresh today as they were back then. You know what I'm saying?
And like you could see that sort of inspiration.
Long story short, I'm just saying that it's always a pleasant surprise to be reminded on how much of like a kinship American and Japanese culture have, at least when it comes to humor, especially. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and then that kind of humor in action films and other things like that has seeped into American culture.
Absolutely.
With like Lethal Weapon is a comedy and an action movie,
right?
Not that funny.
Yeah.
But you got Die Hard, there's a lot of funny stuff. Indiana Jones, there's a lot of funny stuff.
Right.
And then into now with like the Marvel movies.
Oh yeah.
The better ones are the ones that can play that line.
Right,
where it's the comedy doesn't take away from the realism.
Right, exactly. Like it doesn't exactly. I mean, and they did it so well to where the comedic parts were just really well executed and to the point to where it was it still fit within the realm of the story that was being told, and if anything, it added to the realm of the world that is being built. You know what I'm saying? It like that doofy brother, the way that they were able to just manipulate him, and he would just be so gullible. It just like it didn't take away from the seriousness of it. If anything, it added to the world that they were building, because there is this guy that, man, if I need to get an edge on my opponent, I can take advantage of this guy and use him to do so, and he does, Well,
I mean, the whole plot of it, Sanjuro coming in and being like, I'm going to get them both to pay me to kill
each other.
Like he's like this. It's almost a Looney Tunes plot.
Sure,
Bugs Bunny comes into town, and you got Yosemite Sam and Elmer Fudd,
right,
fighting to kill. Like he gets up to.
Which I wonder how much the Looney Tunes took from. What's the guy that did Looney Tunes? Chuck something.
Chuck Woolery.
No, come on, that's
Matt Blanc. No, I mean Mel Blanc.
Is that maybe?
Well,
that sounds voices. Right.
Chuck Jones. That's what
Chuck Jones. Yep, that is it.
Yeah, he was the Looney Tunes
anyway. R.I.P.
Mel Blanc was the voices.
Yeah, that's right. Right. He's the Bugs.
Yeah, they're all dead.
Yeah, they're all dead.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's talk about Sibe and his wife and how they are the worst parents of all time. Yeah. You remember that scene where they're talking to the kid, and the mom, especially the mom, is like, "Oh, if you kill one man or 100 men, you only hang once. Yeah. Get out there and murder people, son.
Basically, don't be a pussy.
Yeah, don't be a little bitch. We didn't raise no bitch. Go kill people, bitch." That's what they're telling this guy, and the poor kid is just like, "Oh, I don't know, man. Isn't it good enough?" the fucking worst parents ever, but paints how much of a scoundrel that their side is, and then and then you see the other side be just as much scoundrels with the abduction of that lady, and which I missed where the fuck she actually came from. Did she just appear and then we were supposed, because when I first saw her when they did that showdown for where they were supposed to trade the people off, and then the first time I saw her they brought her out and were like surprise, and then they were like no, and I was like, who the fuck is that?
Okay,
did I miss that?
Yeah, she is hold on, let me pull
but I mean they explain it later, but was there something before that moment where they depicted it, or were we supposed to just find out later?
No, you find out there, I believe, unless he said the whole reason they were doing the trade is because we hadn't seen her before.
Okay. So I didn't miss anything before that.
Like, you need to make the trade because she was abducted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. And then also, like, didn't the mom get shot during that? Didn't fucking rabbit snake man shoot the mom there, and then the next scene she was okay? Like, someone got shot.
He shot somebody, but it wasn't her.
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe it was one of the geishas or something. But yeah. So that whole plot was really cool. But that doofy brother for what's the name of the other boss? It was Sibe and
it's
Mashugana.
And Soke was the son.
What's his name?
That's what the Unosuke. That was the one with the gun.
Yeah, that's the one with the gun.
Yeah, then Ganji's the tavern
Unosuke's
keeper.
got a gun.
He's the only guy that's good. Okay, Inokishi is Ushitora's rotund brother.
Yeah, that guy. Oh my god! And then the face he would make, and they put that unibrow on him to make him look even more stupid. That dude was great.
Tokomon was the sake brewer.
Okay.
Tazamon was one of them.
No, that's not it.
He was one of the main guys.
The guy, the Onosuke's dad. He was the main boss of that family. What was it? It was like
Hansuki, right? There's Tazamon, Yoichiro.
No, it started with like an M.
Let me pull up the Wikipedia.
Tavern
Over, Gun-toting and Gangster. The original boss of the town was Saibe.
Yeah, that's
okay.
We talked
Ushitora. It was the other gang leader.
Yeah,
he was originally Saibe's lieutenant. And made his own people.
Yeah,
like he was the guy who made his own crew because Usuke gave. Saibe gave his town to Unsuke.
Right.
So it was on Unosuke and Ushitora. So it both starts with a U.
There we go.
Saibe was the other guy.
Okay, gotcha.
The original one.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, Unosuke is the guy with the gun.
Tazamon was the mayor.
Unosuke?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we talked about the Star Wars-esque wipes, like the scene changes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Definitely fucking. Well, I didn't really notice it was happening until about like 3/4 of the way through, and I was like, oh wait, there it is. Yeah.
I mean, it is seamless.
It's been happening the whole. Yeah.
Which is weird to say about a giant seam going across your screen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. But it's literally seen full.
There's a lot. I mean, the whole city is all these straight lines. It's all shot on diagonals, but everything is very straight.
Yeah.
All the buildings have straight lines.
Yeah.
With like the support beams going up and down. And then, so there's a lot of straightness, but nothing shot where it's like straight.
Yeah.
It's all at an angle.
Yeah. And how about that shot of the first time that he gets them to like face off with each other, and Sibe thinks that they have him on his side, but then he overheard them talking about killing him and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, right when the battle's about to start, he's like, fuck you. And then he lets them know, like, I'm not on their side anymore, so
not doing it.
Go for it. And then he just climbs up the thing and just watches them.
There with doing this little thing.
But then it all culminates into, like, this awesome shot of, you get from below that, where you see Sanjuro up on the tower, and then you see them, like, kind of going back and forth into the frame, and then it culminates into the dude going warning them that
the inspector's
coming, and then it's just the two bosses are face to face
Yeah.
with Sanjuro still above them, looking down at them.
And at that point, they're
really
like,
cool.
"Oh, this fucking guy," because like his
Yeah.
idea was this will be easy,
Right.
I'll get him to do it. But he didn't realize that both sides were pussies.
Right?
You know,
Yeah,
like-
right. And they wouldn't fight.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like they would go a little bit forward,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
"Hey,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah."
Like reminded me of like in elementary school or something, if there was going to be a fight on the playground and then
Yeah.
like everyone gathers around and then the two dudes don't fight. You know what I mean? It's
Come on,
like-
come on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, because no one really wants to hurt each other. We all have love in our hearts that's being suppressed by the Illuminati.
Well, they're all criminals and gambling criminals, and they're not good killers. They're sneaky killers. Like, they'll kill somebody when they're not armed or looking,
Yeah, right, exactly.
but they're not fighters.
Yeah, right. Let's see. There's a bunch of other cool shit, man. That shot of when after they find out that Sanjuro, man, that whole scene where they come
He's
in
crawling around.
and they find out that whole scene where so they free the guy and his wife, or he frees the guy and his wife by tricking the stupid brother
to run and tell him
Yeah.
that the guy's got out.
Right.
He walks in, fucking murders
all
them.
these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious too because it just like shows his skill and why he's like such a badass,
Yeah.
because he knows those 6 dudes are still alive in there, but he knows
That
he
he's
can
gonna-
handle them so well that he just goes and tells the guy they're all dead, because he
Yeah.
knows he's
He's
about to
gonna
go
kill them
fucking
all.
kill them.
And
Yeah.
then he does.
he hadn't even done it yet.
And he does. And he goes out. And he's like, okay, y'all need to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you know what? I should probably go break up that place because they're going to.
Right, otherwise they're
30
gonna-
guys.
right, yeah.
So he goes in there and just tears his whole
Yeah.
place apart after already killing it to make
Right.
it look like 30 guys came in and killed
Yeah,
these guys.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fucking just like, having such confidence in your abilities that before even doing it, he's like, yeah, they're all dead.
Yeah.
All of them are dead, and none of them were dead yet, but
Don't
he
go
knew
look,
he was
just go tell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he knew he was about to kill them all.
Well, and then it took more out of him to tear up the place than it
Right,
did to kill
yeah,
the
then
6
to
guys.
slice them hoes, man. And then he lets them go, and he's like, and then that whole like, that whole his attitude towards the guy that let his wife get stolen, and how he keeps trying to thank him, and he's like you fucking
get the fuck
weaklings,
out.
get the fuck out of here, you make me sick. Are you fucking crying? Get out of here. Like he's like, it just like that shows like his character's what's the word, just toughness,
Mentality,
I
yeah.
guess. Yeah, and
Well,
mentality.
and like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the whole thing with
And he's like, people like that make me sick.
the samurai concept. It's a balance. It's not about good or bad. It's about
Right.
balance. in the
Right,
world.
right. Yeah.
And bringing on to that, that middle of like there is always good and there is always evil, but like you don't want to be heavy on either side.
Right.
It's about just like when he leaves at the time, he's like, okay, it's peaceful.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he
it's
brought
quiet.
balance to the force.
Yeah.
Those shots of there was that one shot in particular where after they find out, let's talk about the scene when they Unosake and the dumb brother come in, and they've just found out some information about how the lady is free, and and they're running free together, and they said something about blah blah blah, and the old guy had just thrown that thank you note from the husband
onto the table,
and it was like, dude,
was
such
like,
a good
fuck.
setup for suspense, and then you see the
Especially
shot
when
his hand crawling to
Sanjuro-
grab the sword, and he's like,
Sanjuro before that was just like, I don't want to read it. I don't care.
I
I
know.
don't do it for the thing. Like,
Yeah,
like,
right.
What are they going to say? Thank you, thank you, thank you.
right,
I get it.
exactly,
Fuck you.
right, yeah.
But it left there which is what
I
fucks
know.
him.
Right when he comes in, that was so
Yeah.
great, man. And then
When
the
he
next
tries
thing,
to put the sake on it.
yeah,
Well,
and then
it
the
would've-
old guy
God,
fucked it
he
up.
fucked it up so
Stupid
bad.
bitch, dude.
Could not be more obvious.
I know, man. I know. But that was all great, man. Some great moments of tension and suspense there. And it culminated in that family going and burning down Seibei's palace with the silk and everything to smoke out what's his name, after they like beat him up and everything, and he escaped. And there was an awesome shot of the flames coming out of the house, and then it's like below Unosake, and then you just see Unosake standing there like with the flames going out over his head. It was just like a really cool shot.
The cut to them destroying the sake factory.
Yeah, right.
Like, retaliation.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And I really like there's
and so it all ends up working out the way that he planned it. Yeah. It's just he was trying to do it without his ass getting kicked. Yeah.
But he also, like, that's the other thing, is he knows how to fight. Like, part of fighting is not just doing it, you know, only going in when you know you're going to win.
Right, you know? Right.
And like, but yeah, some of the better scenes are him sneaking around.
Yeah, I know.
Stuff with all him like getting under the floorboards.
It was a great play with lighting and stuff during those whole sequences too. But yeah, and then when he like they finally get him away and they convince that dumb brother to take him. Yeah. Oh, that was so good, dude. And he's like such an idiot.
Like, well, just tell him.
Yeah.
What if he has to look at it? Don't let him.
Yeah, and then he goes, and then he's like, well, yeah, it's probably too tough for you anyway. We're going to the graveyard. I heard there's a bunch of ghosts there. You wouldn't want anything to do with that. And he was like, what? I can do it. Yeah, all right, let's fucking go, dude. I'll show you. And he's like even so into it that he's like running with it.
It's like he's got the brunt of the weight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then he's even like, here, I'll help you bury him.
He's like, no.
You're supposed to go find the guy, right? You're supposed to go find him. Oh, yeah, that's right. Unosake's going to kill me. Yeah. It's fucking hilarious, man. But dude, when he fucking returns to that town after coming back, there was a lot of like, I was like, I couldn't help but think of like DBZ, man, when it's like if Vegeta or Goku gets their ass whooped and they have to like, kind of retreat, and recuperate, and then they come back even stronger, you know, and then it's like,
as Saiyans are wont to do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, holy shit, what? Goku's power level is at 180,000 now. What? You know, like that kind of thing. And then the Ginyu Force is like, you don't stand a chance against me. But he does. Not only does he, but he's going to whoop your ass, right? That's what fucking happened here. He came back even fucking stronger. And then that shot of him in the town where it's like so far away, you just see him in the distance, you know? And it's just like this wide shot of just him right in the fucking middle, like, ugh.
Well, and
it's so like, cool, dude.
That also, brings into his whole idea was, I don't have to fight these guys; they'll kill themselves.
Yeah, right.
And so much of the death and that kind of stuff happens off screen.
Yeah,
so it's all just these alluded plot points of plot moments of we're with Shinzero recuperating and we come back, one side's already won.
Yeah,
there's only like 6 guys left.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And he's like, I'll make sashimi out of them. He's like, you're gonna go just with that? And he's so confident. He's like, I'll fucking chow slice him up, dude.
He fucking did.
But then it was cool because the casket, he's like, benefits of being a casket maker here. And he had the sword rolled up and he's like, it's wrong to use a dead man's sword, which is like such a cool glimpse into Japanese culture there. It just within a line, he just says the line. They don't explain why it's wrong or whatever, but it just lets you into like, that just the culture of it, where it's like the respect of the dead. You don't, even if that's a perfectly good sword, that's a dead man's sword. You leave the fucking sword, But he had no other choice, right?
Yeah.
But it was just fucking, that shit was just so cool, man. His return to the town was so cool. And the way, Unosake still has the gun, so he still really has the power, but he fucking gets him with it. And the way that they like, what's the word? Man, what's the fucking word? Foreshadow it with him in the little temple there.
Yeah.
Throwing the
knife.
Catching the leaf. Yeah. It was just so cool, man.
Which, that was a camera trick.
Oh, yeah.
It was reverse photography.
Okay, I imagine. Yeah. It looked cool, though.
Yeah, I know. Even watching it, I was like...
It was really well done because it didn't seem like really a trick.
The only tell is I was like, well, it's interesting that he hit that leaf right on the cut of the leaf.
Right.
So when he pulls out, you can see the cut of the knife.
Yeah.
Of the leaf as it blows off.
Right.
Just pulling out the...
Yeah, right.
Or as it blows in, there's the cut already.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But is that just how good of aim he has?
It's probably that.
I mean, we're talking about Sanjuro here, dude.
Yeah.
The ultimate Ronin warrior. Yeah. But yeah. And then the last bit let's see, the dude screaming for his mom.
Yeah.
He's like, "Mommy!" And he's like, "Children shouldn't play these games.
Well,
get out of here."
And you realize who that was, right?
That was... Wait, who was it?
That was the guy from the very beginning. The first character that we see. Yeah.
The one that he ends up telling him to go hang himself? Oh,
no,
that was that kid.
Yeah, the kid at the beginning.
He was going to go into the town.
Like, I'm going in there. They're like, it's all gamblers, you know. And then that mom and dad were like,
who that was.
Whatever. He's like, I don't want to stay here and
that's
grow
even more
rice or whatever
awesome.
It was. Yeah.
That's
so at the end, that's why he tells him to go live
go live
a boring life or whatever.
That is
or whatever
so
he says
cool.
that he said at the beginning.
And you know what? And now his family can get his profits back on their silk.
Yeah.
Because they burned down the fucking
silk factory. Yeah.
Man, that's fucking cool, dude. I did not catch that. That's really cool. And then, like, you know, Unosake's death, where he's like, "Come on, I just gotta
get my gun."
Gun. He's like in love with the gun.
Don't give him the gun.
I know, but that was even more baller the way that he did. And then, of course, he turned it on him, but you know, it just worked out that
it was already,
the blood loss was
you
already.
Saw it. It was pooling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It had affected his vision, so he couldn't even see. And yeah, it's like fuck. That was so cool, man. So yeah, basically across the board, really well done. I will say, man, I gotta fucking comment on how impressed I am that these motherfuckers are all wearing just like sandals, dude.
Yeah,
just wearing flip flops,
which is another reason I was like, I could get into this culture.
Shit, dude. Yeah,
barefoot. I'm into it,
dude. I mean, he's like moving like a fox in these sandals on this fucking rocky ass dirt. There's no guarantee them flip flops are staying on, man. And he's fucking slicing people.
Well, he knows how to do it.
That's insane, man. It's fucking really cool. But it also just like, I don't know, it like explains their movement too, like especially the samurai's movement. It's like really like what's the word? Balanced in the core. Yeah. You know, because if you fuck up that shit, if you're stubbing a toe real bad, you're fucking everything.
Everything is about balance with their the way they stand, the swords are balanced.
They like fucking run at like fucking, you know, at full speed, but their upper body is like fucking perfectly still. Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's fucking really impressive and awesome. How much the actor who played Sanjuro,
Toshiro?
Yeah, what's his name again?
Toshiro?
What's his last name?
Mifune.
How much training in swordsmanship does he have? Or
I don't know.
Do you know? Does it say?
By this point, he had been playing samurai.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, he had already played the most famous samurai ever.
Right,
the epic swordsman. Because, like, that guy, like, not only was this, legendary swordsman, he was also a style of sword play that was unprecedented. He had the katana and this other, like, smaller sword. Oh. So it was a dual blade.
Which is kind of what Sanjuro ended up with.
Well, he had a dagger, yeah.
Right.
But this is like a smaller...
Gotcha.
Kind of, it's got a, I love swords, but I don't know the names of them all.
Gotcha. Same.
So.
I have been watching a lot of Forged in Fire with my wife, though. Have you watched that shit?
I tried to. It's all right.
It's so dorky, dude, but it's awesome in how dorky all those people are.
I mean, my problem with that is I can't get into the one-off.
I know
competition show.
Yeah,
because
but it's almost better though.
I watched. We just finished watching all.
It would be cooler if it was a season.
Yeah, we watched all of Blown Away.
Yeah, we watched that.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we watched that too.
But I like to get to know the people and be like, no, that one's my favorite. That's the one I want to see.
Get the journey. Yeah,
yeah. And like I've watched, but it's also just kind of it's always swords. Like it would be more interesting if it was like blacksmithing.
Forged in Fire?
Is it not always swords?
No, they do maces. They do.
It's always
daggers and it's always weapons.
I mean, I would like to see like where this this challenge
like a kettle or
again,
something.
like the full thing.
Actually, that's a really good point.
And kettles and armor and.
They should do like an expansion
like
of that,
like a blacksmithing show,
where it is like a full season competition with more branching out on the totality of blacksmithing.
And with that stuff, it doesn't have to be art pieces. Like with Blown Away, it is art. It's an art form, and not that blacksmithing isn't an art form.
Yeah,
but it's a utilitarian.
And what do you call glass art when it shatters?
Sand.
Shart. Anyway, Yeah, but anyway, that's about all for my notes, man.
I mean, I think we've covered it.
We've hit a lot, dude. Yeah, I think we have covered it. I mean, did you have any specific thing? This is your first time you watched it too. Did you have any?
I mean, I'm right there with you.
That we haven't hit.
I just really enjoyed it. It was, I was not surprised knowing what I knew going in now. But like if I had tried to watch this out of nowhere without having already watched some other stuff and realizing, I already like these samurai movies.
Yeah.
Like if I was just like, I've heard, Tarantino loves it and, it inspired Star Wars, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. I'd be like, all right, well, let's see what happens. And then be taken away. So,
right.
Kind of like you. I mean, you really had no idea what you were getting into.
Yeah, not at all.
And I, like watching it, I, couldn't help but thinking, I was like, I wonder what Bryce is going to think. Because, it is action, but
that's what
it's
most
different.
people think, Yeah. I wonder what Bryce is going to think.
But like, I knew it was going to go one of two ways. And then when you texted me after you watched it last night, you're like, this movie's straight dope.
Yeah, no, I said the word I used was doip.
Yeah,
doip. It's a straight up doip. DOYPE.
All caps.
And it is, man.
Yeah,
it totally is.
It's so good. I want to watch more. I want to watch. I've seen Rashomon. I think I have seen Rashomon before, but I don't really remember it.
Yeah, see, that means you need to watch it again, apparently.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think we watched it in one of my early film history classes, like back in when I was at Texas State still.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And we watched it like in class over 2 days.
Yeah,
so,
that's not the best.
And if you're reading something from like a DVD that's being blown up onto the big screen, like I wasn't paying attention.
Right. Yeah, no. Especially in college, man.
Yeah.
Who's got time for that?
So
you didn't fucking know any better back then,
Nope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think we will be visiting more Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and now I guess it's time for our reboot recast.
Well, we gotta rate it.
Okay. Rating. Okay. Well, do you want me to do the honors? Go first, or because you got to give a rating on this one too here?
Yeah.
Okay. So then, out of 10, what's a good one? Out of 10, old men. It's pretty good. Pretty specific.
10 old men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of 10 mayors that I tell to go hang themselves. That was the mayor, right? That he told them. Out of 10.
The crooked little mayor.
Yeah. Out of 10 cups of sake. I give this movie 9 out of all of those things. Yeah. I give it a 9. I give it a 9, basically. Long story short, I give it a 9.
Out of 10 chopstick-filled chickens.
I missed that.
Well, that's how they got the sound effect of the slashing of like cutting through a man.
What?
Is they put chopsticks, like 2 chopsticks inside of a chicken.
Oh.
And then they cut it.
Oh, like an already dead chicken.
Yeah.
Okay. It'd be
Yeah,
fucking hilarious if every slice was like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like sounded like a
no, they just take some raw chicken and they put some chopsticks in it, and then they get a microphone right up to it and they cut it, and it makes that. Yeah. So that wet with a snap.
I still say make the chicken be a live chicken and have a every time someone gets sliced. It's like, what's going on with that fucking sword?
Okay, I do want to talk about that before I give my rating a little bit. Is the violence is much more impactful in this than the other ones that I watched. The other one was just kind of like far away, slash and die. Okay. This was, there's blood. And there was limbs
There's
being
limbs
chopped
coming off. Yeah.
There was pools of blood. And
and for 1961, that's pretty fucking hardcore, man.
He did that purposefully to get a a more damaging effect of violence. He wanted to change people's attitudes toward violence on screen, whereas before it was like
Interesting.
You know, even in older westerns where it's like somebody gets shot and then you go oh and die.
Right.
You know,
Right.
So it's not like it doesn't feel real in that sense, and that's why he wanted to show it. But that has like taken an overboard, especially in Japanese cinema and stuff, is where it's just like super violent. It's like cut off an arm and spews blood. Like it's almost cartoony the other direction.
Yeah.
But that was his intent, was that for the violence to be something new. And I think he got that.
Yeah. Well.
But anyway, out of 10 of those, I mean, I got to give it a 10. I think it's perfect.
Wow. You give it a perfect.
Yeah.
Are you a little disappointed and surprised in my 9? You thought I was going to give it a 10
No,
too?
you also rate things different than I do.
Yeah.
I mean, for what this movie is, it's everything.
Yeah.
If this was, and what's interesting, I haven't seen, like we've been talking about, I haven't seen all of Kurosawa's
You know what?
stuff.
I give it a 9.5.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll throw in a loose limb. I'll throw in as a 0.5.
It's gotta. But, it's one of those things that maybe he's got better ones than this, but that doesn't make this one worse. It's like Scorsese, when we're talking about, Goodfellas versus Departed versus, Wolf of Wall Street or whatever. Like, if they're a perfect movie, if they're really, really good, if it's a 10, it's a 10.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Just because this one is the perfect version of what it is doesn't mean that these other ones are worse or better.
Right. I guess I only hesitate to not give it a 10 because I don't know what I'm comparing it against, right? So I'm just giving it a little bit of breathing room in case.
Well, but
there is another one that I see that blows me away even more.
When you're rating a movie, you don't have to compare it against anything but itself.
Listen,
That's
you
what
don't
I
tell
say.
me how to rate movies.
I mean, I can rate things.
All right. I rate things the way I fucking rate things.
But just because some movie is a 10 and another movie that may be a better movie isn't a 10 is because I don't think that movie was a 10.
I see what you're saying, Chase. I see what you're saying. I agree with you saying, but how about this?
What do you say we cut the chit-chat a-hole?
How about that?
I got to stop giving you sound bites.
Okay, and I will say that this movie is definitely not a piece of shit. Just wanted to have a chance to play that one. Haven't played it in a while. It's not one of those. Just want to make that clear.
God.
That's it. It just goes. That's it. Okay, so now with numbers, is there numbers?
Yeah, I got some numbers.
Okay.
I have the total. So the domestic of Japan versus the U.S. numbers are lost. We don't know what it did. I mean, we know that it made like 1.3 million or something now.
Okay.
Like since like 92 or something, but like all the original numbers are gone.
Okay.
So in 1961, I have the millions of yen that it made.
Okay. But you don't have the conversion to
I
dollars
do
of
have
what that
the
is.
conversion.
Okay.
I have the conversion of its okay, so the earning a distribution rental income, and this was equivalent to an okay, so the estimated box office gross, I have that in yen and then a conversion.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep. All right. We're not doing an opening weekend, right?
No, this is just the box office gross. Remember, Japan, not big.
Right.
And it's in 61.
Okay. So then, but see, what I can do here is I can say dollars, but if I go over, then I can just flip it and be like, no, I meant yen. You know what I'm saying? Because
Well, if you go
more
over,
yen.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'm gonna say. So I have like a 2 chances here to get to be right.
Well, you got to tell me which one.
All right. I'm gonna say total. It made. You said this was most successful.
Yeah. Internationally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think.
But we're just doing domestic right now, and you have an international number. Okay.
The international number, I don't.
I got to do better at listening. Okay. So I'm gonna say 7 million
Yen?
dollars.
Okay. No.
No, what?
It was
Play the soundbite.
Yeah, I was on the wrong page. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
He chose poorly.
Yeah. Bullshit. So it was 659 million yen, which is around $1.83 million.
I was under.
You said
I said $7 million.
yeah, so it was $1.83 million. So you
Oh,
were
one
way
point. I
over.
thought you said 8.3 for some
No.
reason. I went way
Again,
dyslexic on
not
you.
listening.
I went dyslexic on
Yeah.
you. 1.83. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I overshot that a bunch.
Yeah.
But I was pretty close to the yen number too.
Yeah, not
Well, I was way off
way
on
off.
the yen
I
number.
mean, you were way off on the yen
yeah,
number.
yeah.
You were not close at all.
I had 2 chances to be right and blew it on both counts. Okay, that's great. But that's a lot of money back then, man.
Yeah, but it's made,
That's a fistful of dollars.
which is
Yeah,
the
you see?
unofficial one.
There you go.
So, yeah, I'm not going to even attempt to recast this.
No, I can.
well,
I can. And I
okay.
think it's very obvious. Scarlett Johansson plays everybody.
Yeah, there we
seeing
go.
as that it's
That
a
makes
Japanese
sense.
movie, and that's what Hollywood likes to do with her, I guess. So, there you go.
And,
Because she did the ghost in the show.
yeah, which wasn't that the whole thing that the robot she was in was not supposed to be a Japanese robot.
That's what they say, but I mean, it's a Japanese
Yeah,
movie.
I mean, watching
come on. Like, there's
the
no
cartoon,
Japanese
it
actors out there. It's got to be Scarlett Johansson. I mean,
well, but the
that's
cartoon,
argument.
the robot she was in wasn't Japanese.
Oh boy!
Because it had boobies.
Don't worry,
in
guys. I'll cancel him for you. Don't
Anyway.
worry. I'll take care of it
Anyway.
later.
But this has been remade officially. Like, Fistful of Dollars was not an official remake.
Right.
But the official with the rights remake was called Last Man Standing with
The show with
Bruce
Tim
Willis.
Allen on
No.
Netflix.
No. It's on Fox, by the way.
Oh, right.
No, with Bruce Willis. It was in like 95.
Oh, that makes sense as to why I saw that movie be suggested in IMDb when I pulled up Yojimbo.
There you go.
Okay.
So
1995. I've never heard of that one, especially for having Bruce Willis in it.
Yeah,
It must not have done very well.
height of Bruce Willis. No, I think it did really well. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe
not
we'll have to
been-
do that one.
Or if I have, it's been like
Yeah, right.
not anything that blew me away.
Sure.
It was just, it's just an action movie.
Gotcha.
Because again, it's not samurais and it's not Western.
You know what I say about Bruce Willis?
Bald asshole.
There you go.
Yep.
But I think it would be interesting to take this story and do it again. But also, like, it's been done several times. So, like, what are we really doing?
Yeah. Right.
You know, what are you gonna do? Take it in a dystopian future.
Right.
Like, well,
Yeah.
that's kind of just like putting it in the past. you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
So, who knows? I'm sure it's not over. I'm sure that we will see this again.
You mean with the remakes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been since like 95.
There's going to be some art film dude in California that's going to be like,
Or not.
I'm going to revolutionize film by remaking this movie. It's
Well,
going to
yeah,
be the greatest.
I'm sure you can't
I'm
get
going to
the rights.
cast Scarlett Johansson as Enduro.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for this episode.
I think so.
I
We need to do plugs, and also
yeah.
I fucked up. We did not thank our sponsor again until the end, so sorry about that. But this episode brought to you by New Look Home Construction. And if you're in the Houston area, look them up on Facebook, Google. New Look Home Construction for all your home construction needs. They furnished our lovely mics and wonderful soundboard here. So look them up once again, New Look Home Construction for all your home remodeling needs. And then, of course, you can find us at the Movie Gap across the socials. So we're talking TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at the Movie Gap, all one word. Let's go. Give us a follow, give us a like. Even on YouTube, you can watch the video. If you're only listening to this in podcast format, you can watch the video at home, have it on in the background. A lot of you are working from home, so you can see what we all look like.
Yep.
And get it all in any way you want it. Also, the video's on Facebook too if you follow us on Facebook. So,
and
plenty of options to
don't
reach out
forget to check us out on three beers and a MCU.
That's right.
For 3 beers and a mic is the podcast. So search for that. It's on all your major platforms. As well as we are going to be again on the Burt Reynolds Charles Bronson podcast.
Yes, that's right.
Cannonball Run. So
we might have already been on by the time.
I think it will have come out by now. If
but
not,
you can always go check that out. That's led by the amazing Scott White.
Yep. He also does the Dan Aykroyd podcast.
That's right.
So check those out. I don't think we've done that one before. I know that he used our Blues Brothers
fan
episode.
Favorites. Yeah, our Blues Brothers episode is part of that, but fan favorites Miguel and Ed have been on that show, so check them out on the Dan Aykroyd podcast.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. That wraps it up. I will say we don't usually tell you what we're doing next week, but we will be doing the unofficial recast of this movie, Fistful of Dollars. So it will be interesting to see what you think.
It's true.
Absolutely. You're really not a Western guy either. Like you haven't watched a lot of those.
I definitely did not grow up. There's lots of sand and dirt.
Yeah, that's true. But there's no digging.
No digging.
Was
Some
it the
digging though.
Or was it the sand?
It was both. It was both. Definitely both.
You got a real Hayden Christensen on our hands.
Yeah. Wait, what does he have to do with that?
He hates sand.
Does he?
It was. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast.
Star
before.
Wars?
Yeah.
What did he say in Star Wars?
In episode 2.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I hate sand. It's everywhere. It's in my panties.
I forgot the greatest line of dialogue ever.
I hate sand.
Yeah, dude.
He's like literally about to mac on a fucking queen, and she's like, "Let's go over here, sit on this little beach." He goes, "I hate sand."
I know, it's like
Natalie
it's supposed to
Portman.
be like, Lucas when he's writing it, or what? Didn't he write that shit too?
Yeah.
When he was writing it, he was like, "This is where I get real philosophical," and he's like, "I hate sand. It's all small and stuff, and it gets in my clothes. It's like, how many sand can there be?"
I mean, it's just the whole thing of. I guess it's setting up the anger. I don't know.
Terrible.
Whatever. Fucking.
Terrible.
Awful.
Yeah. So in that case, I am like Darth Vader. I hate sand.
Hate sand.
Well, I hate it in movies anyway. Sand and digging. It's so boring when I was a kid. Nowadays, I got a lot more patience for it.
So here's a question
I think I'm
for
gonna
you.
like it.
If you were a kid, would you have liked this movie? Would you have liked Yojimbo?
No, I would not have had the patience for this shit as a kid. Like, what age are we talking kid-wise?
I don't know. What age would you have sat down and watched a movie?
Well, I watched Star Wars when I was like 8.
Yeah, but I mean, this is also reading a movie too.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it's in
dude, I would
subtitles.
not.
That's got to be hard.
Dude, I did not have patience for black and white movies until I was at least fucking 14 or 15. Easy.
Yeah. So like in high school, if you had watched this in high school,
oh, I probably would have loved it in high school. Yeah, but dude, as a 10-year-old,
well, no. I mean, nobody's gonna watch this as a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Although I think I did watch.
Well, you're the one that asked.
When I was a 10. Well, no, I'm just trying to figure out, we
You
always
son
talk
of a
about.
bitch!
I mean, I wasn't saying you should have liked it when you were 10.
Got a terrific penis.
You son of a bitch!
But,
you got a terrific penis.
Anyway, I mean,
no,
because I remember watching, the Clint Eastwood westerns. I don't know if it was Fistful of Dollars or Good, Bad, the Ugly or which ones I watched when. But like the younger I was, the more boring they were.
Of course,
and
yeah.
the older I was like, oh, these are starting to get good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but this movie I think would have been real difficult to get through when you're.
Oh, dude,
10.
fuck no.
I mean, black and white.
I could have got into this at about 14 or 15.
Yeah.
But
Once you
speaking
start
of the title of the movie, Yojimbo,
I don't know what that word means.
It means bodyguard. I don't think we said
there
it.
we go. We did not say it, so there we go.
It translates sort of to the bodyguard.
Gotcha. Oh,
Not
wow.
to be confused with the movie my wife will.
Remember what I told you? Remember what I told you about the soundtrack? Fire, dude. When it busts in, when I Will Always Love You.
Yeah,
from the bodyguard.
That's where they got
straight
it.
fire, man. It's
Now that's what I want to hear
the
is
60s.
a sample, like a sample of the Yojimbo soundtrack mixed with
I Will Always,
Love You.
Whitney Houston or Dolly Parton version?
Well, Whitney Houston, because we're talking about the movie.
Bodyguard, yeah. That's Kevin Costner, too.
That is Kevin Costner.
We're going to have to do an episode on it, dude.
Yeah.
And we'll have your wife
My wife
on.
will be excited because I will finally watch it
Okay, good.
with her.
That's good.
Yep.
Oh, and about this movie, we got to give it a...
Big skip.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
already did that, but we didn't hit the button.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, that wraps it up this week, and we will see you soon. Until then, Nom in space.
Space.